right, we're on Keilim, Perakuf Aleph, Mishnah Aleph. We're at the beginning of the last Baba, the Baba Batra of Masachet Keilim. The final stretch, the last 10 chapters, 21 to 30. So in order to understand this Mishnah, okay, the Bartuna says we're going to talk about what's called a yad, meaning are things that are connected to something, extending from it, are they considered the thing itself? If you touch the yad, the thing that's connected, are you actually touching the thing? If the thing is tahor, do you become tameh or not? So in order to understand this, we're going to talk about parts of a loom. Actually, it's really freaky because somebody just this week sent me a question about a Mishnah in Shabbat that actually, Perek Yud Gimel Mishnah Bet, that also talks about a loom. So I had some time to go over what a loom is, the parts of the loom. Basically, the loom is as follows. You have these strings. Okay, the strings are lengthwise. I don't remember which is warp and whoop, whatever. Okay, the strings are made to be exactly parallel one to the other. Okay, and then they're divided up. The odd and the even strings are divided up. The strings on this is called the koved hatachton, the lower koved. And when the finished material, the finished cloth is on the koved elyon. It's koved tachton, koved elyon. The string it passed, okay, through here. Now, basically, what the loom is going to do is it's going to separate the even and odd strings, so that you can run a shuttle through it. You can run a string through it, okay. And these things, okay, they're called nirin. If you look here, here's your koved tachton. The strings are running across it. These things are called nirin, and you have strings on them. And what they do is they pull one string up and another string down. And then you run the shuttle through, and then you have this komi thing, and it smushes this into the cloth, and then you have a piece of cloth. Okay, so I'll just show you. It's worth to see. Okay, there's a video I found of Mount Vernon in Washington. Okay, and if you watch her, let me see if I can move myself so you can watch her. Let's make this a little bit bigger so we can watch her weave. Okay, and you'll see as she's weaving. I don't know if you can hear her. Okay, we see her running the shuttle through. Okay, and then she pushes it in, and you see the nirin go up and down. Let's see if I can. She'll make a close up. I think if I recall this video properly. Here we go. Okay, and you see the strings. Okay, are connected by these. Let's go back for a second, and then I'll pause it. You can see the strings are connected by these loops. The nirin, I don't know what they're called in English. They pull up and down. Each one goes up, one goes down. She does it with her feet, or he, if he's a weaver. And these strings are connected to even and odd strings to pull even strings up and then pull them down. And that's how you have a loom. So it says the Mishnah. Hanogea, if the loom is tameh. Oh, I'm sorry, the cloth is tameh. Hanogea bekoved elyon. You touch the koved elyon. The koved elyon, remember, was this thing, the feeder loop, or bekoved tachton, or the receiver loop. Banirin. The nirin we said were, okay, these were the nirin were these things. These are the nirin. They hold the strings that pull the strings, I don't know whether there's a term for it, up and down. Those are the nirin, or you touch the nirin. Bakirus. Kirus is the masrek, the comb, shebo makirin al ariga umechabim mechutim, the pull comb. Okay, the kirus, let's see for a second. This is the kirus. So if you touch any of these things, when the cloth is tameh, we're going to go here. And here you see a little better. Here's the kerus, koved elyon, koved tachton. Okay? The Mishnah says, you touch any of these things. Let's go back to our Mishnah. Ubechut she'aviru al garbe argaman. This is a totally different thing. When you do argaman, when you do embroidery, so they would put, in order to protect the embroidery, the embroiderer would put a temporary string or thread covering over it, but it was going to be removed. So if you touch that. Or, Ube'ira she'ena atid lahachzira. Ira is basically a protrusion. When you're making the cloth, okay, sometimes there's a protrusion. If it's a big protrusion, think about a sweater with a pull. If it's a very big protrusion, you're going to try to connect it. But if it's you're going to try to push it back in. If it's a small protrusion, you're going to try to put it back in. If it's a large protrusion, move myself back down there, like this, you're going to cut it, you're going to tie it off. So, says the Mishnah, if you touch the ira she'ena ati lachzira, the cloth is tameh, but you touch the protrusion, the pull, that you're not going to push back, then tahor. But if you touch the nefesh hamasechet, the nefesh hamasechet, the Bartunura says, is the shuttle, basically. Okay? the shallow that you're going to run across. It's like a sole that goes through. You run it across, and that holds the string. If you touch that, or bashti ha'omed. Let's pause for a second. All right, the standing strings. This is the shti ha'omed. The standing strings that are being run through the loom. Just so you can see, and that's the shti ha'omed. I had to make sure it was the right term. Or ube kaful she'eviro agabe argaman. Argaman again is the embroidery. So it's not the string that you used to protect, but it's a doubling of the embroidery that you're going to leave there. Or ube irashi atida lachzira. Or remember the pull. The ira is like the pull, but you're going to push it back. Shatida lachzira. You touch the string that came out, but you're going to put it back. So therefore, it's part of the cloth, and the cloth is tameh, then you're tameh. Meaning, if you touched anything that's too removed from the cloth is tameh in our loom. So if you touch anything that's too removed, you touch these things, the nirin, you touch the koved, you touch one of these things, then it's tahor. But if you touch something connected to the cloth, if you touch a pole that's going to come back in, or one of these strings, then it's like you touch the yad, something that's connected to it, and you're tameh. Next case. I hope this is clear. If you have any questions or you want to know how loom really works, search for Weaving on the Loom with Melissa Weaver Dunning. And you can't see the whole thing because it's made it too big. So George Washington, Mount Vernon, Weaving on a Loom, and you'll be able to find it. Says the Mishnah. Now we're talking about with ima. We're talking about women who would spin thread. So if you touch the wool on the ima, we'll see the ima in the second. Be'ashvaya tahor. Ima and ashvaya, the Bartender says, are two of the same thing. If you touch the wool on the ima and the ashvaya. Ima and ashvaya are things that they would use, either sticks to do spinning. So if you touch these things, okay, then you're tahor. So the ashvaya is the pelach she'ochezet hataveh. So it's if there's like a little wool on this thing, or there's wool, they use this to spin also. There's extra wool hanging on there. So if you touch the tzemer on those things, then you're tahor. But hanogea b'pika. Let's say you touch the pika. We'll just finish reading the Mishnah. Hanogea b'pika. If you touch the pika, ad shelo peira'a tamei. The spinning, the thread you spun was tamei. So if you touch the pika until you peira'a removed it, then you're tamei. But misha peira'a, if you took it off after you removed it, you're tahor. The pika is this brown thing. And the reason why they have this round thing, the women, remember, would spin. They want to spin the thread, because as it's spinning, then they're spinning it and making string. Okay, so the pika was this weight. So if you touch the pika, okay, while it's connected, then it's considered a yad, and you become tameh. But if you touched it after it's been removed, it's not connected, and you're tahor. I.e., if this piece of wood, this plach, is tameh, is if you touched things, wool that are on this extended piece of wood, okay, remember, because it's a hook. The hook itself was a kli. So if you touch the other parts of it, then, if it's not connected, you're tahor. If it is connected, then you're tameh. That's considered a yad. We'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.